Welcome to the Business Development Podcast, brought to you by the Global Business Development Association, delivering the strategies and tactics to boost your career and corporate growth.
Hello, BD Pros, and welcome to the Global Business Development Association podcast called What is Business Development? And today we have a fantastic guest, Colin Cartwright. Let me tell you a little bit about Colin. He's been in industrial automation for over 30 years. That's long enough to see what works, what doesn't, and what hasn't changed when it really should have. These days, he spends most of his time helping packaging machine builders and manufacturers simplify their control systems. That means less wiring, fewer panels, faster builds, and a whole lot less downtime. He's a big fan of decentralized automation, not just because it sounds cool, but because it actually helps teams build smarter machines that are easier to commission and maintain. He works closely with engineering teams and project managers to reduce complexity, improve uptime, and transition to systems that are easier to build, support, and scale. Wow, that's a lot of engineering. You're probably wondering, what does he do in the business development field? Well, not only has he been in business development for some time, he also published the book we're going to talk about today. Now, his role in business development has been with a company called Electronic, and he stays pretty busy writing articles for trade mags and posts on LinkedIn pretty much every day. He hosts the Machine Builder Talk podcast, and Colin's up to about 10 episodes so far in his podcast, where he talks shop with automation pros who've been there and done that. He's also started Automation Happy Hour, a casual event that gets the community together for a beer, actually, without PowerPoints or sales pitches. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty tasty beer right there. And he also wrote the book, ChatGPT For B2B Sales. Now, let's talk a little bit about the book. ChatGPT For B2B Sales, it's a practical guide for B2B salespeople who don't want to be left behind. So look, are you still writing cold emails from scratch, spending hours formatting follow-up notes, struggling to keep up with proposals, prospect research, and CRM updates? Ugh. ChatGPT for B2B Sales is your hands-on guide to using AI in the real world of sales without hype, jargon, or the need for technical skills. Whether you're a frontline rep, business development pro, or a sales leader, this book shows you exactly how to work with ChatGPT to streamline your sales process, sharpen your messaging, and free up more time to close deals. And inside, you'll learn how to write cold emails, follow-ups, and proposals in minutes, not hours. Boy, I'd love that. Summarize meetings, log CRM notes, and prep for calls with zero admin headache. Research prospects, personalize messaging, and build trust at scale. Plan trade show visits, handle objections, and create content with ease. And finally, build prompt workflows that save time, increase consistency, and improve outcomes. Whether you're new to ChatGPT or just haven't figured out how to make it useful in your day-to-day sales life, this book gives you the foundation you need to go from beginner to confident, capable user. It's not a book for prompt engineers or AI experts. It's for working sales professionals like you who want practical, immediate results and a clear path to making AI part of how you sell. You'll walk away with battle-tested prompts, field-proven workflows, and a smarter, faster approach to B2B sales powered by AI, guided by experience, and still driven by human connection. Colin Cartwright, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony. That was quite the introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, Colin, thanks for joining us today. It's always great to have a fellow podcaster join us and a fellow business developer like you who's published a really exciting book. I use ChatGPT pretty much every day. I use it a lot with the LinkedIn posting that I do. It helps guide my crafting of a lot of the content, particularly the heavily technical content that I produce. It's fantastic as a research tool, just absolutely incredible. So I can't wait to dig in here and learn some about your book, but first let's learn a little bit more about you. You have kind of a varied path in the business development profession. So I'd love to hear about how you entered into the BD profession.
Well, it started off as accidentally getting into sales, I guess, at some point in the past. I was a controls engineer in the UK, working for a company that went very quiet. And I said, "Hey, why don't you give me some sales brochures?" Totally no sales experience at the time, but I did have relationships with some of the plant managers because I'd been there to install, repair and service machines. So I had some openings right away and had a lot of success in the beginning and liked the sales part of it. So I moved over to be a sales engineer at that point, and ultimately, ended up many years in the industry now, over 30 years in the industrial automation industry, and took on a business development role specifically just over a year and a half, nearly 2 years ago at Mirror Electronic. Prior to that, I was the director of sales and as a sales manager. But the director of sales role looked good for me. So that's what I've been doing for the last, as I say, nearly 2 years now.
That is fantastic. I love how your career follows the career path for so many business developers who start off in operations. I started off in operations just like you did, was a technical expert just like you are. And then what's also great is you took the initiative to put yourself in that type of business development role. And then you transitioned into sales, which kind of my pathway as well. And then what's very clear is that there is a distinction, particularly at Murr Electronic, where you've established the fact that, yes, there are salespeople, there is a sales team, but then there's business development. And those are two very separate and distinct functions. So your career path is it's actually representative of a majority of business developers who do start off in operations. We hear a lot about today, particularly on LinkedIn, you hear about, the business development representative, folks that are just starting their career, which is a great entry level into business development. But I think what we see is there are a majority of folks just like us. We start off in operations as experts. So now you have a lot of expertise and you have 30 years of experience in the profession and in the industry of automation. So what drove you to write the book?
Good question. I was asked to present at the annual sales meeting, the North American sales meeting last December. And I had the fortune of having the last session of a 3-day sales meeting. And if you've been to a 3-day sales meeting, the last session is usually the one where everyone's trying to get out of there. And go, oh, thank goodness it's over. But I put a lot of work into it. I presented to probably about 50 of our sales team across North America. And my eyes were opened by how many of our salespeople were not using AI or ChatGPT at all and had no idea what they could achieve by using ChatGPT. And there were a lot of reasons. Some of them were scared that they would sound like, AI. Some had apprehensions about the stigma of using AI, their reputation. Someone found out they used AI. Some of them were just like, I'm not using AI, I'm too old for that kind of thing. And the presentation went really well. And at the end of the presentation and that evening, it was our last night of the meeting, I had so many people come up to me and say, Colin, that was the best presentation of the week. Thank you so much for giving us that information, give us an insight into what AI can do. And honestly, I didn't expect that, but it came back that there was a space there for someone to actually provide information on ChatGPT. And that was the spark for the book. So I started in December, and 6 months later, ChatGPT for B2B Sales was published just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well, and the irony isn't lost on me on the fact that you're presenting to a room full of automation experts and they're refusing to use a solution that automates
The
a
other
lot
the
of.
other irony, Tony, was I was one of the oldest people in the room. Okay, so I'm approaching 60, and here's the old guy showing the new guys the tips of how to be more effective and more timely, and also sound more realistic in some cases than they were doing with their own manual emails, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the old dog teaching the new dogs the new tricks. So
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, double irony there. So lots of fun.
For sure.
And it's also interesting to hear the feeling, and I suspect it was from a cross section of the audience of, well, what will people think about me if I use ChatGPT or I use AI to support me in my work? Here's my mindset, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you feel differently, but here's the way I look at ChatGPT and AI. If you had, let's say you're an editor for a newspaper and you have a team of writers, you're editing the work of those writers. Those writers are producing articles for you and you are publishing those. It's the analogy is the same where you have ChatGPT, essentially your staff writer that's helping generate the content. Now you're putting your spin on it. You're putting your contextual perspectives on that content. So I see it as no different. But I'm curious to hear what your perspective is.
No, you're right on there. It depends, okay? Because some people expect magic to come from ChatGPT by putting in a very, let's say, lazy prompt. Write an email to this buyer at this company and say, we sell great stuff. All right. Basically garbage in, garbage out kind of results using AI that way. What really helps with AI, and you've just put it perfectly, is using the context of your knowledge, your experience, okay, and intertwining that with the AI and using the AI as an assistant. We in business development and sales have never ever had such a powerful tool at our fingertips in the 30 years that I've been doing this, and it's how you use the tool, okay, that matters, not the tool you're using. And best description I can give you, if you pick up a power drill, okay, a power drill in itself cannot drill a hole in the wall, okay? Power drill does not know where on the wall you need to drill, and a power drill does not know how deep to drill the hole. And so you pick up the power tool, you direct it, and you put the hole exactly where you want and how deep you want it. That's AI. So AI is the power tool, and it's augmenting your skills and your knowledge to make you stronger.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I was looking at LinkedIn this weekend and I saw a post from the CEO of a SaaS sales app. I think they were conversational intelligence. And he was asking the question of, um, you know, would OpenAI's ChatGPT or other AI that can, because ChatGPT just came out with the voice recording and feature, which is, I see the instant use case scenario for business developers is, record your conversations with your customers. ChatGPT provides the transcript and then the summaries and the action items from it. And that started to get me thinking of, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Exactly.
I think there are over 10,000 different SaaS tools for business development out there. And I think I look at all of them and I think uh, they're going to go away. If I'm doing all of my transactions with ChatGPT, it's listening to my conversations, it's recording the notes, it's coming up with next best actions for engagement with my prospect. It's keeping track of my customers. It's doing my customer service calls. It knows where the issues are on the back end once they become clients. I mean, all of the data resides there. You don't need a CRM anymore. You could just ask ChatGPT, give me a report, give me a list of all my prospects. Where are they in the pipeline? You don't need to and from a business developer's standpoint is that's what I want, right? I don't want to spend time updating a CRM or, writing notes or follow on emails. I want to do the human part. I want to do the contextual human part of, and that's the other powerful thing is it starts to learn Tony. It starts to learn Colin. It starts to learn your personality and how you like to present, how you like to engage. So I'm super excited that you put together a book like this, Colin. So if it's okay, I'd love to jump into, your top 3 BD tactics. You've been in this business for a while. You've been in the profession of business development. So can we just jump right into your tactic number 1?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The first one would be serve, don't sell. Okay. So going a little bit deeper into that, as younger salespeople, we get into this I guess, technique of going and trying to sell someone a product or try to sell something, making it transactional, essentially. I've got something I think you want to buy. Okay. Totally wrong way of going about developing business, because the idea is to serve people, help them solve problems. Okay. And if you help them solve problems and even connect them to other people that can help them solve problems, not just yourself, then you build up this trust and this trusted advisor role that they come back to every single time. And I can't tell you how many times, Tony, in my life that I've said to somebody when I've had a product that, sort of fits their round hole. I've got an oval peg, they could be forced in there, that I've said, you know what? No, we don't have the best solution for you. This company or this person at this company is the best person to speak to on that. And I've had some sales managers in my past give me a lot of stick for doing that. Okay. A couple of them, most of them have been pretty good, but it's never come back to bite me. If anything, it's always provided a conduit for more business from that person next time they needed something. So the first one would be to serve and to show up, helping someone without having any expectation of getting something in return.
Yeah, having a service mindset,
Yeah.
to become a trusted advisor. And Colin, you just paraphrased chapter 2 of the business development body of knowledge that says no deal gets done in business development without an element of trust. And trust consists of, and this is neuroscience, it consists of purpose plus empathy plus truth. And that one small scenario that you gave, square peg, round hole, okay, you need a round peg in a round hole. That's your purpose. I only have square pegs. I'm just telling you the truth. Here are the square pegs. So purpose, truth, and then finally empathy is, hey, you know what? I don't have round pegs for you. All I have is square pegs, but you know what? Here are a couple other vendors that have round pegs for you.
Right.
Boom.
And then you go and find people with square holes. They've got the square problem for your square pegs. Right. So that's the second part of it is problem solving. Identify problems that your possible customers, they might not even be customers at this point, your prospects have. And a lot of them don't know they have the problems, or are denying they have a problem, or that they are not admitting that they have a problem because we've done it this way. It's always worked. And so helping them understand the benefits that they're going to get from solving that problem, how it's going to make their business better, how they're going to grow, how they're going to be able to hire more people, automate processes, whatever it is that your solution you're offering, help them understand what that looks like if they do change. And again, not with that selfish motivation of trying to sell them something, but back to that, trying to help them be better and where they are right today. It's really important to understand that.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you drew the distinction there between business development and sales, where sales is transactional. And if you look it up, sales in the dictionary is efficiently and effectively providing a product as quickly as possible at an agreed price, something that effect.
Yeah.
So it's very transactional, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want salespeople that when you bring them a fully qualified lead, right? The prospect has said, they've raised their hand. They said, yes, I want this product. I want it now. Great. You do not want somebody that will start back at step 0 trying to qualify, that prospect. You want that salesperson to jump in really quickly and go, okay, great. Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, these are the steps. This is how we're going to do the transaction. This is the price. We're going to negotiate. Here we go. You want those people like that. And that's a very skilled activity.
Absolutely.
Business development, it's different. It's different. And you're approaching with that service mindset to solve their problems. And you know what? When you point those prospects that want the round pegs to those other round peg vendors, they'll probably give you referrals to their counterparts, their colleagues who actually need square pegs that you provide.
You
Right?
got it.
I mean, yeah, it becomes reciprocity. And
Right.
so that's why I always say, you make a prospect happy, just a prospect. They don't end up have to be a customer. They'll end up providing referrals to other prospects for you. And business development becomes exponential. Sales is transactional. It's linear. Okay. And so that's the beauty of what we do in business development. So I really like tactic number 1, Colin, which is show up with a service mindset and help them solve their problems. Okay. What's number 2?
Show up in their world and understand their problems. It's provide a platform. A podcast is a good example, to provide a platform where they get to speak and tell other people about how good their business is. Give them a megaphone. And podcast has turned into an incredible conduit to develop business because it gives you an opening to people you wouldn't normally get to speak to. And really, it's just a platform. You're having a conversation with another person in a normal way, like we are right now. But the platform provides the gateway, the door to open to be able to get that conversation. And it's quite a powerful platform or a technique, I guess, in lack of a better term, to be able to get to speak people that you wouldn't normally be able to speak to. So basically create a platform that gives your customer a voice. And that doesn't have to be a podcast. It could be a publication where you're sharing success stories and promoting them and showing how they've been successful. And hopefully you're going to be attached to that success in something you've done with them. But essentially, yeah, it would be provide a platform for promoting your customers or prospects, and giving them the chance to shine on your time and your dollar.
Yeah. So show up. I like that.
Yeah.
Being present. And, some folks may be quick to say, well, that's a marketing function, isn't it, to do a podcast? And I tell people, no. Marketing, the mission of marketing is to get the prospect's awareness. That's it. Get awareness. Now, once that prospect says, oh, now that might be a solution to my problem, now they enter the brand activation phase or the activation phase. And that's where we as business developers get involved, right? You're activating the brand when you bring them on your podcast and you have them talk about how they solve their own problems, which then in turn helps the rest of the community learn how to solve their respective problems. And so this brand, and they're engaging with your brand. They're engaging with you, Colin, and who works for Murr Electronic, who's been in the industry for a long time. You have a massive community and you're bringing everybody together. This is what we do as business developers, marketers. If you're listening to this show, please relax. We're okay unsupervised. We're professionals at this. Okay. We don't need marketing to hold our hand on putting together a podcast. Okay. And so this is fantastic. I like this tactic. It's the first time somebody's talked about it on the show. So I like how you're doing that, Colin. And it's not just for people to understand. Did you kind of how did you coordinate this with marketing? Did you kind of do it on your own, and then what's kind of how do you do it? Do you kind of invite your prospects, or do you invite existing clients? Can you tell us a little bit more about the show and how you did it?
No, good question. Actually, just on my own. Marketing have somewhat approved it. They're not disapproving, so that's permission. It's kind of one of those things that you do something that you think's a positive and ask for permission later on. And the idea was that there are a few podcasts in our industry, but none that specifically focused on machine builders. And I wanted to provide, as again, not for me, but a platform for those machine builders, whether it be the intern that's just started or the CEO, it doesn't matter. A platform that everyone can show up and talk about the industry and some of the challenges that we face and they face, so that they know that they can share those challenges with other companies like themselves, and they're not the only ones that have problems with it. And one of the things we've got a major problem with these days is skilled labor, right? So that's something we talk about a lot. And the introduction of AI into the workplace as well, and how different companies are handling that. So it's a chance for other companies and other peers in their industry to get some feedback, on how they're doing things and how other people are doing things, to see if they're actually going in the right direction. So as I said, it's more of a conduit for the voice of your customer or prospect at that point.
Yeah, great. I love it. I have my own podcast, obviously, the newsletter as well, CGO Magazine, that brings the community together with a lot of expertise in there. And I've set up LinkedIn groups in the past as well. Those have worked great with small communities of niche community for prospects and clients, and very tough to reach industries. So let's jump into tactic number 3, Colin.
So just before we do, Tony, I just want to compliment you, because a lot of the time people expect results without putting the work in. Okay. And To run a podcast takes a lot of work. To set up a LinkedIn group takes a lot of work. To create a publication like a newsletter and keep it going out consistently takes a lot of work. It's not, you don't achieve the success and the relationships and the contacts you get by just pretending that you want to do that or talking about doing it. It's doing it, and you got to do it consistently, and people will realize that you're showing up all the time, providing value. And this is the third one, is basically providing value to as many people as you can, constantly and consistently. And that could be joining industry groups, contributing to industry groups. I'm a member of a packaging industry group, and we help each other a lot. There's a lot of collaboration within the group to grow together, to collaborate on projects. And everyone thinks of this win-win situation where we can all work together. The other thing that I decided to do was, in business development, the best way to get business development is actually to warm up people first before you actually try to sell them anything, okay, or develop business with them. So get a chance to get to know them, and what better chance to know them than have a beer with them. I know that, you know, in my career, every customer or prospect at that point may have been, I've had the chance of getting offline and having a normal conversation with, over a beer, or it doesn't even have to be beer, it can be a coffee. And that relationship changed from that point on. And so I've just mentioned the first ever automation happy hour is taking place this Thursday. And it started off with my idea, well, if I can get some community together here and I get to know them a little bit outside of the, you know, the gateways and doors that we have to get through into their businesses, then next time I pick up the phone and say, hey, I think I've got some ideas that, you know, make you better, or maybe give you a better position in the market, or whatever it may be, they're going to go, oh yeah, you're Colin, the automation happy hour guy, come on in. Right. So the third tactic is really to create the warm connection with your prospects and relationships before you try to ask them for anything. And again, it's providing value up front, providing a platform for them to actually meet you. And this happy hour, I originally thought we would have 20, 30 people, and we're now up to 130 people on Thursday, and we're sold out of tickets, and it's free. So huge success. I'm really excited about what we're doing here, and it's going to be a quarterly event. So it's get the community together, and I can see it just growing and growing. So,
oh, wow. What a great tactic. Number 3 is share value with your community. And hey, while you're at it, share a beer with them as well. So, okay, let me summarize these 3 tactics, Colin, if I may. So tactic number 1 is serve. Show up with a service attitude. Be there to help them solve one of their problems, and have that trust building mindset as you move forward, helping them solve those problems. Again, that perfect example that you gave us, the square peg, round hole. You need round pegs. I've got square pegs. Can't help you, but here are the companies that can. And that value then leads to reciprocity later in the relationship. And so that service mentality is tactic number 1. Tactic number 2 is show up. Show up in the community, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a newsletter. Be present in the community so they know, then they realize and they understand and they trust you as the expert in the field that can solve their problems. And if you can't, they know that you're going to point them in the right direction, that of somebody who can within the community. And then the final tactic is to share value in the community. And while you're at it, share a beer, but you're always out there in the community sharing value and giving. And I love this kind of 3 S's of business development, tactical success, Colin, that you've shared with us today, you know, which is, you know, I like how it all kind of comes together into really a trust building methodology. So fantastic tactics you've shared with us, Colin. How can folks get in touch with you? How can they listen to your podcast? And more importantly, how can they get a copy of your book?
Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, on LinkedIn, Colin Cartwright. If you go to linkedin.com/Colin Cartwright, I was lucky enough to grab that one in the early days of LinkedIn, or just search for me on LinkedIn. The podcast is at machinebuildertalk.com or any of your favorite podcast platforms, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whichever podcast platform you prefer, you'll find it on there. And the book is on Amazon. So ChatGPT for B2B Sales is on Amazon all around the world. You can buy it as a paperback or the ebook version.
All right. Fantastic. Well, folks, get out your Amazon account and grab a copy of Colin's book. Automate a lot of your activities that you're doing in business development, increase your efficiency, increase your effectiveness. And remember Colin's top 3 tactics: serve, show up, and share. Colin, thank you so much for joining us today, and cheers to you for all the value you bring to your community and the business development profession. Thank you.
Been a pleasure, Tony. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Business Development Podcast. Join our free community of corporate partners and business development professionals advancing the art, science, and ethics of the business development profession at gbdassociation.org.